It's Kimberly Shipley. I am feeling a little bit better, first of all, and Caleb is too. Still not healed, but, we had the flu. So, anyway. But I do want to start this video that I have a super humongous surprise. So, let me just, hey, hang on one second. Let me just show you my surprise. Instead of talk about it, I'll show it to you first. So here we go. Here is my surprise, everyone. Yay, ready? Here we go. There was no water in the sink. Look at here. Both sides going. Water going down the drain. Oh, I could do this all day, y'all. Water. Yes. Here. Since I showed this to you, let me go in here and let me talk to you a little bit. Let me turn the water back down. I do still need to have it dripping tonight. A steady stream. This is what the plumber recommended. Let me get in here and talk to you about all that. But this is a steady stream. I have to keep this on for all weekend. It's supposed to get frigid again. It's going to be below 32 tonight. Keep that rudder running. You can see from the video I just showed you. Yes, we got the water fixed. Oh, I am so happy. Thank the good Lord for this. I couldn't thank him enough. My prayers have been answered. Anyway, I'm going to go in some detail. So let's talk about it. And what happened? Well, I called a plumber. And I was thinking maybe I should not get it fixed for days because it's going to get cold again. So anyway, I contacted my local plumber, or a local plumber, and I got to go give him a Facebook recommendation out of this world because, again, it was amazing. I figured it'd be next week before they could even get them fixed. A lot of people's got busted pipes right now in my town. And, this ain't just an issue with me. It's an issue with a lot of people that's happened to. And a lot of my town some people in my town still don't have electricity. I have been very blessed and very fortunate through this whole ice storm. I have never lost electricity. And, oh, yeah, by the way, let me show you one more thing that came in the mail today. But, hey, maybe I will need it for the future. You never know. But it did come in the mail. Let me show you real quick, and then we'll go back on the subject. Brand new kerosene heater arrived today. Brought by FedEx. So, yes, and Teddy's going to go over there and see it a little bit. But, yes, it did arrive in the mail today, so I do have a backup plan if I ever do lose the heat. I do have kerosene heating. I just hope, with my breathing issue, that this is okay. Some people says, hey, they don't recommend this for me. So I don't know. But anyway, I do have a backup plan. Me and Caleb will not be cold if we did lose power. So anyway, let's get back to my story. Since y'all know I have heat now too. A backup plan in case I did lose my electricity. But again, I am so thankful to the good Lord that through this whole ice storm, I have been very blessed. I don't want to say lucky, I want to say blessed. Because I think it's the good Lord that done it, knowing I didn't have no other heating source other than my electric heating. So anyway, a lot of people in my town has lost electricity. We even had the National Guard called in because we're under that kind of state of emergency in our town, where so many people has lost power, water. We had even at our water department had a main line. I don't know if it's a treatment plant or what, but it busted. I mean, it has been a mess around here. And then, of course, beforehand, before the storm started getting, when it was getting closer, but it hadn't happened yet, people started wiping everything off the shelf. When I went to search for kerosene or some type of heating supplement in case we lost electricity, I thought, I got to take it serious. Well, guess what? I couldn't find nothing. Everything sold out. I almost just got laughed at. I mean, that's how crazy it was. So, it was to the point you couldn't find the milk, you couldn't find bread. Thankfully, I did. Like I said, I think God was really watching over me on everything I needed. So I feel very fortunate and blessed because a lot of people did lose their power. A lot of people did lose their source but some people had backup heating. I didn't. I wasn't able to find it. People was buying generators out just like they was putting down $1,000 for a generator like it was just nothing. I couldn't even have done that. I couldn't afford it. Wasn't even sure how I was going to afford a kerosene heater, but I was going to try to make it happen because I knew this was getting serious. They done gave us pretty much 95 and 100% chance this ice storm is going to happen. And as you see, it did. I want to stop this and show a little clip of a little bit of our ice we had here. And this just gives you a general idea of how much ice we've had here. It's still there. Nothing's really melted today. We're probably going to have this ice that happened the other day so bad. And again, on my windshield, when I went to go in my car, my back window, my whole car was covered. But my defroster would not even melt yesterday when I was trying to take Caleb to the doctor. Now you got to remember, I have type flu A also, and yes, I'm definitely positive. The doctor did tell me Caleb is positive for also flu A. With me just starting to get sick, starting to sneeze and all that, I was having to take that thick of ice on my windshield and just hand take it off of it. And that was after letting my car defrost for 30 minutes. And me and Caleb just sitting in there trying to get it defrosted. And it still wasn't doing it. I mean, you could see it melting from inside. So you could see the slithers of water rolling down the windshield. But it just was still so thick. When I got out there, it was great. Of course, my hands was freezing. I was having to do this and just to take a few pieces off and go back in. My hands got numb. So I had to go back in and warm them in the car. Then get back out and try to do it again. That's how I was able to drive. I mean, you can see. It would have never defrosted through the defroster and the back windshield defroster. And it would have never got this defrosted. It was so thick. So just kind of give you an example of how thick this ice is here in Kentucky. Now, I don't know what you got out there where you live. I hope and bless, I want you to be safe. I pray for each and every person out there. I will say this real quick since I am talking about it. I pray every night for everyone out there that has not got heating, electricity, or anything. That's not got their water or whatever they're going through right now during this has been just horrible. I have not seen personally anything like this myself since 1994. And you can look it up, South Central Kentucky, 1994 ice storm. And personally back then, I didn't even think to take pictures. I was only in my very early 20s. I had 2 children, very small. One was 2 years old. The other one was around almost 4 years old. And so at that time, I had 2 kids, 4 and 2. And it was a bad ice storm, but it went faster than this one's going to. So the ice actually left faster. It was very thick ice. It caused a lot of destruction. Our whole town, everybody was without power. They got power back on in town, in the city, within 4 days. That's where I lived at that time. But some people out in the far out county of where I live was without power for 14 days in 1994. So I still think the power lines was more damage back in 1994 because everybody without a power. This time, everybody, me, one of the lucky ones, blessed ones. Let's not say lucky, let's say blessed. Because I think everything's a God blessing. So I was blessed, and some other people I'm sure too, we did not lose our power. So I was very blessed that I haven't lost my power. A lot of people in my town right now are not that blessed. But, and a lot of people has lost water. Again, we had, from what I'm understanding, some part of the county, this wouldn't even affected me, I don't think. But as some part of my county, some of the main lines had busted from the water department. So, I mean, this has been a very serious situation. But to compare it to the year 1994, we was without power longer, but the ice came and went within maybe 3 days. It warmed up enough, it melted all the ice storm that happened, even though it took longer for the power lines. I do think our power company has tried harder now to trim back since 1994, to trim back power lines. You know, like keeping trees off of them and things like that and doing the best they can. So I do think that's been a help since then. We learned a lesson back then in 1994. So, and we've compared this ice storm, people that remember it, you know, like me, and other people, you know, that does remember the 1994 ice storm, we've used that as a lot of comparison to this one. There is a difference between them, though, I've noticed. And, you know, I'm giving you some of those differences real quick. Again, the ice storm of this year, it's been this started Saturday. So today is Thursday night. So we got Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This is day 6. It still ain't melted. The roads are getting clear. Not all roads are clear. There is a lot of our very back roads is still in very bad shape from what I'm understanding. I've only drove between where I live in town, and I could do it in my Nissan Versa. And it's a front-wheel drive, and it done fine. I had a little bit on my road. There was some things I got into in parking lots. Like I stopped at our dollar market, picked up 2 or 3 things, like paper plates and a few little things since I didn't have no water at that time. When I went out yesterday, that way I didn't have to wash dishes or anything due to the fact that I couldn't, you know. So you don't want to mess up a bunch of dishes, and you're trying to be conservative when something like this happens to us. So anyway, so I stopped there and I noticed our local dollar market, they was working on it, but it still had a lot of issues in their parking lot and stuff. It has still had a lot of issues there. So we're on day 6 after ice storm, which our ice storm lasted 2 days worth. It was Saturday was the big hit, Sunday another big hit. So, but the biggest hit was Saturday night on into Sunday morning. And the second hit is where it really hit the fan and caused, I think, the worst of the ice storm that melted everything heavy, that weighed everything heavy down, the trees and such as, to start the catastrophe of what's going on. And again, I appreciate the National Guard coming in and helping people in our town. They're checking on the elderly, people that don't have electricity, seeing if they need food or what they need. If anybody needed a trip to the hospital, they were going to go pick them up, the National Guard is, and help them get there. So, and they even took people to work, from what I understand. So, a big shout out to them that they have had the National Guard come to our town to help us out in this catastrophe we've had to happen to hit us, because it's been a very bad situation. You're only seeing what's going on in my life. You know, I have not got to show the entire town because I don't have a wonderful car, and I'm sick. I've got the flu, but again, I feel a lot better tonight than I did even earlier today. I guess the Tamiflu's working. So anyway, so kind of comparing it to 1994, you know, at that time, again, 3 days, it was over. We just had to kind of pick up after the aftermath of getting the electricities on, getting everything fed. I remember our local Save-A-Lot in 1994. The man that was running it at the time, he opened up Save-A-Lot and gave people charge accounts to give them food. He said, this food in the freezer is going to go bad here anyway. If somebody has the means to grilling, cooking, or anything, I'm more than happy to give them, people I know, charge accounts. And do you know how much of a blessing that was back then? I remember that man. So that really showed me how much that man had a great heart to our town. And I remember that man doing that back in 1994. I don't know, the man maybe passed away. He was an older man that ran our local Save-A-Lot at that time. But I remember him doing that, giving people he knew charge accounts, which he knew a lot of the town. So anybody could have went there and got food and put it on a charge. But what I'm kind of saying is, electricity situation happened a lot longer, but it warmed up quicker, so the ice went away quicker. So we spent several days, and some people did up to 14 days after the ice storm hit. Even though there was no ice on the ground, everybody could get out and do what they want to do. Gas stations opened in about 4 days because everybody had to wait for electricity. Our whole town was gone, wiped out of electricity. So I still think in that situation, 1994 was a worse disaster. It took longer for everything to get back to normal. Now here, today, nothing's melting. It's just here. If you walk outside, you know, remember that song, Ice Ice Baby? We just scoot around, Ice Ice Baby and all that? That's here. There is ice everywhere. You cannot step outside where I'm just like, if I fall, I know I'm going to be in the hospital. I'm going to break a hip. That's what's scaring me right now. I know I'm 51, y'all. Am I going to break a hip? No, I don't want to break a hip. Not at the age of 51. But you know what? I do know I have to take a lot of steroids by breathing. Steroids does mess with your bones. If I fall, maybe I could break a hip pretty easy. That scares me. So I wish this ice would go away. So yeah, I mean, you know, laying all jokes aside, seriously, that does worry me. You know, because every step you take out there, it's just ice. No snow, no traction, just purely your own ice. At some points, I had to sit on the ground and scoop myself down. And being out on this ice is not helping my lung infection, y'all. It has made my breathing more labored and harder. If it wasn't for this good old nebulizer, I don't know what I'd do right now. You know, sometimes I'm just having to go outside and take, you know, breathing hits. After just maybe walking down, trying to get to my car and get halfway to it right now, since I had to park in my dad's driveway where my dad lived at. Of course, that's a little bit over from my house. So that's a good little kind of walk there. So about halfway through it, I'm sitting there taking a few little breaths of that just to get my breathing back a little bit better, because the cold ice is making it worse. And these nights it hit 5 degrees, forget it. I was up almost all night long just trying to, you know, situation my breathing. These cold temperatures is not good on breathing. But anyway, let's get back to the story. So that's the difference between, 94 and 95. Or 94 ice storm. And right now is ice storm. I do know the ice storm now. Again, there's nothing melted. In the yards, everybody's yards is still bad shape. Roads is starting to get a little bit better. Like my road is better, but some other roads are not better again, like I said a minute ago. So I have noticed that, and now. The temperatures here is not going to get above 32. Actually, this weekend is supposed to be cold. One day, maybe it was Saturday, windy too. So it's supposed to be a cold, windy day. And I'm like, it ain't going to warm up till, I think, Thursday of next week. So this is not going nowhere, no time soon. So, I mean, just to get to my car is just a challenge to walk there. And that's, just one thing, big thing I dread. Just trying to get out, like, if I do have to get out tomorrow, just trying to get over to my car is what one of the scariest parts is. It's not really going there, or it's not really what I got to do when I get there. It's the walking back and forth because of my breathing issue, for one. And it's just such a long walk in this horrible icy conditions, thinking I'm walking down a little hill at my house because my house is on a little hill, down to the road. Then I'm trying to get on the road because it ain't no ice a little bit on the road. So I get a little clearer path to get over there to the car. But all this ice around has made my breathing harder. So I really dread it when I have to go anywhere right now because I'm having to park over next door. But in my driveway, I could never park this car. This driveway is horrifying. A solid sheet of ice and it's on a hill, just too risky. So, again, till at least next Thursday, the ice ain't going nowhere. But we're still supposed to get more snow, wintry mix. Not near as much according to right now's forecast. I think it's 0.15. But a little bit more wintry mix on top of this. So when it warms up on Thursday, I guess at some point, wintry mix is supposed to be in there in the lower parts of the day. I don't know. I'm no weather forecaster. But it is supposed to get above freezing a little bit that day. I think by Friday of next week, if I'm not mistaken, I remember the forecast correctly, it is supposed to start warming up next Friday. So we might start getting a little ice relief, just a little bit. If not, it'll be very slick. And can you imagine how the walking's going to be? Maybe I'll take y'all on a walk to my car. And pray I don't fall during the walk on the video. It's because it'll be kind of hard doing a video of trying to get to my car, holding on to the camera, praying I don't fall, praying the hip don't break. You get my point, though. And just trying to get down this little hill, trying to get over to the car. And, yeah, I'm going to have some issue with my breathing because I'm outside in the middle of all this ice. And ice and breathing don't mix. Cold weather and breathing don't mix well. So I'm having a hard time with that. And plus, this flu's happened. At least I'm not sitting there blowing my nose and sneezing right now. All that's kind of came to a halt. Probably the Tamiflu. So anyway, after I got through all this long story right here, let's talk about quickly what happened today. It almost felt like I had to sneeze. I think I talked it up. You ever done that? Talk about something and talk it up? I almost had that little feeling in there, like I just almost wanted to sneeze, but not yet. Hang on. Okay. Maybe it ain't gonna happen. Just don't want to talk anything up, y'all. When it's over, I want it to be over. All right. So today, since we've talked about the ice storm in 94, we've talked about the ice storm now, comparisons, which I think it was neat to kind of include. I hope you enjoyed hearing about that. And again, if you want to know about 1994 ice storm, just look up 1994 ice storm in Google of South Central Kentucky. I'm sure he'll bring up some pictures and stuff like that and tell you a little bit about it. And I just wanted to give my point of view from living in both. That's our two big comparisons. And here in Kentucky, that's been the two biggest things that's been disastrous to us here in Kentucky. I know where you live at may be something else. You may had more disasters. But I live here, and this is what I'm about. My video's about me. My video's about, what happens here. Because Kentucky's where I live at. Things what happens here in my hometown is what I'm going to base things about. So, yeah, you could be in worse shape than me. Or you could have had more ice storms than me. But it just ain't about where you live at. I just want you to understand. I'm not trying to compare any apples to oranges or whatever. I'm just letting you know this is my videos. And this is what happens to me in my mobile home life or my travels. If me and Caleb loves to travel, wants to travel, this is what happens during them. Because this videos is based about my life and Caleb's. And things we do are things that's happening to us. So you're going to get the history of Kentucky's ice storms. So if you've had different ice storms, you can always start your own YouTube channel and tell about your life. And if your life is worse than mine. I just want to make that clear. Okay, now, since we've talked about ice storms, let's talk about the water today and what happened. Well, I had decided to call a plumber, and I thought, they ain't going to be able to fix this to next week. Maybe I even shouldn't even get it fixed to next week because we're just going to have low temperatures. So, anyway, I called one plumber. I won't mention names. But I called one plumber, and he said he couldn't get it to next week. And this is one of the plumbers I have used before myself. And I'm like, great. I don't want to have to wait till next week. So I call another plumber that was a little bit more popular. They're kind of in Kentucky, Tennessee, and I think Florida. I'll say their name, Hiller. They're very popular around, Hiller Plumbing. Well, I called them. They can't get it to it till Saturday. And I thought, great, still have to wait. Well, somebody had mentioned on Facebook, on a local, my town thing, where people talk, and post things like, if you need something, or if you are looking for a recommendation or something like that in our town, or do you recommend a good restaurant or whatever? Excuse me. So I went and I remember seeing a post about somebody posting about water pipes. So I looked it up and I seen another name that was recommended I wasn't used to, but I seen somebody else I knew that I very well trust recommended them. So I thought, well, I'll give him a call. First thing I asked the guy, I said, are you licensed and insured? Because I don't want, I don't want somebody that don't know what they're doing. I want my job, I want this done. I know it's going to be an extensive job. I do know of one area that was busted. I could see that myself. When the water company, when I called them and had them to come turn it off, I could see the water coming out. So I knew there was one pipe that was in bad shape. That had busted underneath the house. So anyway, when I called the guy, I said, are you licensed and insured? And he said, yes. I explained my situation, and I said, my pipes need wrapped after it's fixed. I said, I want every pipe winterized, wrapped underneath my home. From one end to the other, I do not want a piece of pipe showing. But of course, you got to fix it first, unthaw it, and fix it. Which our temperature's been so cold, it froze to the meter. And that's not to be unexpected because I've had no water flow for the last few days. Which again, my water was cut off at the meter, so we knew it was going to be frozen. That's just kind of be like stupid not to know that. So anyway, the guy said I could come this afternoon. And I'm like, really? What? Really? Wow. Okay, awesome. So, anyway, the guy showed up. He came as a 3-man crew. Told me what the price was going to be roughly. And I said, I need any water pipe fixed underneath my home. I explained to him what happened, where I seen it at, and that I had the water company again come turn off my water. And I showed him the area where I knew at the home. It was right here next to my porch. I could see it coming out. And I said, I know there's a big pipe busted there because I could see the water coming out underneath my home. So anyway, he went and got material. He got it fixed this afternoon. He said that was a big, huge area busted. He said the whole pipe came off. He said, we got it fixed. He said, after I fixed that big issue, the one I had pointed out originally, he said, I have found actually toward my bedroom area in that section of the home, he said there was several other piping back in that area that was messed up as well. He said there was actually small leaks. He said, there ain't no telling how long they could have busted and been leaking. And so anyway, he got that fixed. He said he winterized everything underneath the house. And of course, I paid him what I owed him. And so anyway, so he winterized all the pipes underneath the house. He said every bit of it. I got him took care of. I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all the price it costed. It costed out of my pocket $804. It was some very extensive damage, but it's been winterized as well, the best as possible at the moment. He did tell me underneath this mobile home that a lot of my, just underneath, no, we're not talking about the sides of the home, just underneath the flooring of the home. He said apparently an animal or something has gotten under this home. This has been 25 years of home. So he said a lot of your installation is gone. So I am going to need to put in installation in here. Underneath, that is. And I can have somebody to do that. I think I got a little installation outside my building. Not much, a little bit left. Any little bit starting out can be a benefit. I need somebody, and probably my son can do it. Not Caleb, my grown son. Anyway, yeah, his name's Matthew. And so anyway, I want to have him to come in underneath and start slowly. I don't care if I just do a roll at a time or what till it's done. And get that took care of eventually too. Maybe a few months before I can get it all took care of, but it will get took care of. And that guy said that would help the pipes tremendously as well. So that's another thing in the future, soon future, I've got to get done. We did talk about the water pressure here. He said he could fix that. He gave me the price, what it would be. And to dig to find a pressure regulator, he said it sounded like the pressure regulator's messed up and was turned down originally. So that's the reason I don't have no water pressure here. And he agreed, the water pressure is bad here. So I told him I had called in the recent past my water department, and they hadn't had them to check the meter. They said, according to their meter, I should have water pressure. So I want to say it's in my pressure regulator. So this guy did give me a price on what he's going to cost, between roughly $250, $350 to dig it underneath, because he has to go underground under my home. And I think that's where the pressure regulator was put in at. And this is my memory from 25 years ago when it was put under there and all the earth went back on it. So anyway, me and him had done talked about pricing for that as well. But that's something to get done in the spring. I'm not going to have him to try to dig in this ground hard as a rock unless it was an emergency. And which that's, hey, I've dealt with it this long. What's March or April? But since I have got a good plumber that's not actually charging me through the roof. I'm very happy. I was happy with his work today. He insulated the pipes, so he said definitely keep them dripping, and I've already got them. He said actually not even dripping, a light stream. He showed me what to do with each one. So we went over it, and he showed me which one. He said cold water only needs to be turned on. So this is a plumber's recommendation I'm going by. So anyway, that part's done. I've already got the water dripping. I do not want them to mess up. So from here on out, it's going to stay dripping. Unless we're using the water, then we have to turn it up, to get the water out. But anyway, it's going to stay dripping till the freeze and winters is stopped. Now, I do have a receipt because my next water bill is going to be crazy, y'all. Really crazy. So I went by and paid my water bill yesterday. It was normal. Only $10 extra to have it shut off at the meter. They had to come out and do that. So anyway, I paid the bill, and I asked them, could I get it adjusted when I get this fixed? And they said yes. I do qualify for having it adjusted. And so anyway, that's something that's got to be worked on next month. But the receipt he gave me today, after I paid him, will take care of that. So my high water bill next month, when you see me probably like, oh my goodness, look at this, whatever water bill. They think I'm filling up swimming pools, probably 20 of them in here. It's crazy. They probably think I'm filling up a river. But anyway, I can get it adjusted. I don't know what the adjustment will be. Surprise, we'll see. But I do have the receipt to get that done. So anyway, I know this has been a long, drawn-out video. Why not? Y'all like to hear me talking. But I wanted to let you know, yes, the water pipes are fixed. Blessing here, blessing here. I'm getting ready to go take a shower, y'all. And Caleb's going to have a shower too. So I hope everyone has enjoyed this video and enjoyed this huge update. This video deserves 10 million views. So like it, share it. Do anything you can. Get this video out there because this is a blessing to me. This is a blessing. For several days now, prayer has been so answered. I'm so thankful to have the water back in my home. Everything's a mess around here with this ice storm and stuff. I just feel a blessing to have this took care of. So, again, thank you for watching my video. Let's root for the 10 million views for this video. God bless each and every one of you. I hope you have a wonderful night. And let's find something to talk about on tomorrow's video. Thank you, everyone. God bless. Thank you.